I think Vice President Harris supports a future for this country where these freedoms and many others will be protected and upheld.
Speaking of this country, past, present, and future, you can hardly turn around without seeing a celebrity selling you one thing or another: cars, cosmetics, slip-on shoes. How about a celebrity selling you on a politician, however? Last night in Detroit, the rapper Eminem, who you just saw on your screen, a former Chrysler pitchman, by the way, introduced another major celebrity, former President Barack Obama, and then both of them talked up Kamala Harris for the White House. But here's a question. Celebrity endorsements, do they make a difference? They're certainly a standard part of our politics, but here's a by the way for you. There's precious little evidence that it changes anyone's vote. In fact, most adults seem to understand this. In a recent survey, they said that big-name opinions are not very influential or influential at all when it comes to the presidential race. 4 years ago, another poll found that for almost all of us, 89% of us, there is no celebrity endorsement out there that would change our vote. So why does it keep happening? Maybe it's just sort of tradition at this point. Frank Sinatra many years ago wrote a national shift to the right, backing FDR and JFK, and then later Richard Nixon and Ronald Reagan. Likes a winner, it seems. Oprah came out for Obama very early in 2007, during the primaries, in fact, and that quite possibly helped him win that primary, at least according to one single solitary study. And so now in this election, former President Donald Trump has support from Hulk Hogan and Roseanne Barr and Elon Musk, and Team Harris, meanwhile, has a nod from Taylor Swift and George Clooney and John Legend. Actually, on this point, we met John Legend at the Democratic National Convention, and I got the chance to ask him why he gets publicly involved in presidential politics.
Politics affects all of our lives, and we're all citizens. We all have a stake in what happens in this country. We pay taxes here. Our kids are growing up here, going to schools here, and I don't want to sit out. I want to make sure that my voice is heard, but also that I lift up other voices and make sure they're heard too.
We hear your voice, John Legend. We hear all those voices. The question is, does it really matter for votes? Can the people selling you those slip-on shoes be wrong, Adriana?
I love how you mentioned the slip-on shoes because I know who you're talking about.
You know the ads I'm talking about.
Yes, I do. Well, we have the perfect person here. Her name is Ashley Spillane. She has spent a decade working at the intersection of pop culture, tech, and politics. She previously led Rock the Vote and authored a Harvard study that actually looks at how celebrities can strengthen democracy. Oh. Ashley is in Madison, Wisconsin, where her nonprofit and nonpartisan Civic Responsibility Project is stopping on a national tour to register voters by leveraging that celebrity support. Ashley, thank you so much for being here.
Thank you so much for having me.
So Tony just laid it out. Celebrity endorsements don't move the needle in terms of getting voters to vote in the direction that the celebrity is asking. But why do you argue that they're still important?
So in the United States, we have a problem with voter participation levels. We rank 31 out of 50 in developed nations. And that is largely for three reasons: lack of information, lack of trust, and lack of motivation. And these celebrities have huge networks. They garner media coverage. They reach people online. They are able to draw crowds. And that really only helps encourage, empower, and motivate people to actually show up and vote, which we really do need. We also need them to help people navigate the process. Our voting process is different in all 50 states, and especially for young and new voters, they need that support to figure out how to register, when to register, what's the deadline, also how to find your polling place. And so, you mentioned this national tour that we're on, the Party to the Polls Purple Tour. We were in Las Vegas and Reno this weekend with Lil Jon, who drew thousands of young people out, students on the campus of University of Nevada in Reno, who came out both to hear him DJ, but then he also marched to the polls with them and was giving high fives in line and encouraging people, thanking them for voting. And we heard a lot of first-time voters say they wouldn't have shown up, they wouldn't have known to show up, they wouldn't have shown up without that extra encouragement.
So, Ashley, what I hear you saying is that an endorsement may not actually change someone's mind, but it might change their plan to vote and get them in line to actually cast that ballot. And if that's the case...
Get them off the couch.
Get them off the couch, yeah. If that's the case, is there a particular demographic that is doing most of the getting off the couch in this case?
You know, I think it does cut across all ages, race, gender, you know, for reaching people. I think a lot of us who either do this work or pay really close attention forget that a lot of people aren't paying attention to this election until right now, really. The last 2 weeks is when a lot of Americans tune in. And so it is helpful to have people who reach a different audience, who get outside the media bubble and get different people to think about the election either sooner, to think about the different candidates, and to also figure out exactly how to navigate the process for themselves. So especially with young people and especially for first-time voters, this is absolutely critical.
Speaking of those groups, let's talk about Tony's girl, Tay-Tay, Taylor Swift, and her effect. We do love Tay-Tay. What was the impact of her endorsement? She told people on that Instagram post, you know, don't vote for who I'm voting for. Vote, do your own research, vote for who you want. What measurable impact did that have? Because, you know, when you look at her followers, she has 284 million followers. That's almost as many people in this country.
It's a nation, yeah.
Yeah, I mean, she reaches a completely new group of voters that maybe haven't participated before in the process. And I think Taylor Swift was a great example of how celebrities should do endorsements. It's a great thing to share who you're voting for, your reasons for doing that. But she also shared a link to get registered to vote and said, I will continue to share trusted sources of information with you. And, you know, we saw with that link, the great thing about the internet is we can actually track. The reason I know this works is because we see this data. We can see that she drove 400,000 people to go register to vote at vote.gov by sharing that unique URL. We've seen this in a lot of the studies that we did from 2018, 2020, and 2022, that when celebrities share information, people do click through and actually register. And in one instance, in a partnership that David Dobrik, YouTube celebrity, did with Headcount, we were able to measure that the people who registered through his call to action actually voted at higher rates than they anticipated they would.
All right, I am convinced celebrities can make a difference in our democracy. Ashley Spillane, thank you very much.